Pricelabs is one of the best dynamic pricing software packages in the industry. What Pricelabs will do for you and your business is it will adjust the rates of your property for pricing on a per night basis, on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, according to market demand and occupancy. Dynamic pricing is one of the most important aspects of running a holiday let business. In my opinion, Pricelabs is one of the best software packages out there. We were fortunate that Sienna from Pricelabs gave me a full demo of their software package. Watch this video in full to understand all of its capabilities.
There we go.
Thank you, guys. Great to have us here tonight. We've got Sienna from Pricelabs who's going to run us through what I think is the best pricing software on the market right now for service accommodation and holiday let. So I'm really excited to introduce Sienna to Pricelabs. Sienna, take it away.
Hey everyone, good evening. Thank you so much for joining, and Phil, thank you so much for having me today. It's really always a pleasure to talk about Pricelabs, to explain what we do. I'm a solutions consultant here at Pricelabs. I joined almost a year ago. Time has flown. And I primarily look after the UK market, but also some of Europe. So what I'll do today is give you a little bit of an introduction on Pricelabs, who we are, what we do, what is sort of revenue management and dynamic pricing. And at the end, I'll also go over to Pricelabs so that you can have a look at what it looks like. In case you haven't used it, I'm not sure how many of us here have potentially used it before or are looking to start using it. So if you have any questions, please do let me know. I think that will sort of come at the end, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, let me start off by introducing you to Pricelabs. So Pricelabs is a revenue management and dynamic pricing solution, all-round solution for short-term rentals, mid-term rentals, small hotels, service apartments, villas and chalets. If there is a short-term rental or one of the before mentioned in your area or in an area, then we've got the data covered to provide market insights for that. We were founded in 2014, so it's almost been 10 years now, and to date we're pricing over 280,000, this even needs to be updated, listings on a daily basis. We are available in over 100 countries. Our team speaks over 5 languages, and actually we speak a lot more languages, but Pricelabs is available in 5 languages, English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, and Italian. Our HQ is based in Chicago, but as you probably guessed, our team is spread all over the world. So we have support available 24 hours a day, both on chat and on email as well. So any time of the day, wherever you are, wherever you need help, we're here to help. We have received a number of industry recognitions, and actually I was super privileged to accept the latest award that we received in May, I think it was, at the Shorties Awards, where we won the award for Best Innovation Tools for our Help Me Choose a Base Price and our Minimum Stay Recommendation tool. I'll talk about these in a minute because I'm sure that setting your base price is an important question, and that's where these tools will certainly help you. So yeah, our platform helps individual hosts, hospitality professionals to optimize their pricing and revenue management while also adapting to changing market trends and also occupancy levels. Today, we'll be talking about dynamic pricing. This is what we're, I think, most known for. But actually, we also have 2 other products. One of them is Portfolio Analytics, which comes free with dynamic pricing. And this allows you to track your property's booking patterns and KPIs. You can compare different periods of time and see how you're performing. We also have a separate product, which is Market Dashboards. You don't actually have to have listings to use Market Dashboards. You can pick an address and see what the market insights are in this area. You can compare 1,000, 5,000, or 10,000 listings in a set radius that you choose and see what your competition is doing, like what are the market trends in your area. But we'll leave this for another time. So why revenue management? We all know that it's super important to, and we maybe all kind of track all of these things in our own time separately. We try to stay up, to keep up with events, different day of week factors, different holidays, unplanned events that come up last minute, different seasonality. And we all know that this is quite challenging to actually track the demand as it's constantly changing every day. So for this reason, it's important to outpace our competition and to stay ahead of our competition, of other property management companies, because we do require data-driven strategies and some sort of automation to be able to do this. And here comes our technology, right? Our cutting edge technology. It will free you a lot of time. It will give you a lot of market insights. And revenue management is used by travel and hospitality industry, such as hotels and our airlines. We all know how they change their pricing during certain demand peak periods and all of that. So this is what we're doing here with dynamic pricing as well. With Pricelabs, again, we will cover all of these things during today's session, but it's important to note a couple of things on how Pricelabs can help you. So we do use really a cutting-edge technology, which looks at the hyper-local market in your area to give you precise recommendations. Why hyper-local? We recently launched our brand new algorithm, which is called Hyper-Local Pulse, and it looks at your hyper-local market to give you much better precision on different market factors and to react much more faster in a more sophisticated way to these changing factors. Your revenue strategy will be automated. So you can build an effective strategy for one or hundreds or thousands of properties, and it will save you time in the process. So Pricelabs doesn't matter if you have one property or thousands of properties, it can help you along the way. And of course, get control, right? Get more control over your pricing strategy and your specific needs. We have a lot of customizations that you can either choose to leave up to the algorithm, or you can customize them yourself. There's a whole big range of these. We'll go over them as well in a second to actually input your specific strategy in place. So how does Pricelabs work? The reason why I chose to include this slide is because it gets a lot of I think, a nice insight on the data that we use and the steps that we follow for this strategy, right? So the first thing is our data source. Sorry, this keeps popping up at the bottom. So our data sources, right? Every day we look at data that we scrape from what we call from multiple channels, such as Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, key data, and we look at events, and we have our events and holiday database. Bear in mind that we have pricing and booking data that we've been collecting for 7 years, that we couple up with sort of real-time industry data. Okay, this is the first step of collecting this information. The second step is cleaning out this data with our in-house technology, which sort of does things like deduplication. It identifies ghost listings. It has block removal as well included in that. So this is the step 2 of removing all of this from our algorithm. Step 3 is the intelligence that we use. So we have our revamped dynamic pricing algorithm that I talked about. Then we apply on step 4, user strategy. So we have an abundance of customizations to tailor your pricing strategy. You then automate the updates by syncing to your either OTA that you're connected to or to your property management system. And then your performance, which you can monitor, is step 6, which you can use a portfolio analytics to do so. How are prices generated? It's a lot of text. I'm not going to talk about all of this. It's nice to give an introduction today on the sort of process that happens when we come up with price recommendations, but it will be a very good idea, as Phil mentioned as well, to go a little bit more in depth of all the most used customizations that Pricelabs has, which I will touch on, but maybe we can do another session for this. So the most important thing when you set up your Pricelabs account is to decide what your base price is. And your base price will be your base nightly rent, and think of it as your average daily rate for the whole year. Why the whole year? Because during this year, you will have peak periods of high demand and high seasonality. You will have days of the week that are performing much better than other days. For example, in some markets, it's very common that you have, for example, a lot of contractors who visit during the week. So your weekdays will be more in demand than your weekends, or vice versa. So it's very important to use your base price as the average daily rate for the year. Then we apply different market factors, which will either increase or decrease this base price. The market factors that we use, so we have seasonality, day of week trends, lead time, that's your booking window. We look at the neighborhood demand, so how booked up is your neighborhood getting? And also we look at your internal occupancy to see how you are performing in certain lead times. After all of these sort of automatically calculated customizations that go into our algorithm, you have another set of customizations, which are sort of customizations that you can either choose the algorithm again to apply, or you can completely customize yourself to set your own strategy in place. Very useful Pricelabs recommendations: base price help, minimum stay settings. Something new that we use, I don't believe anyone else uses this at the moment, is your market-based last minute and far out prices. So we look at how the market is performing, and every day we decide what your last minute discount or far out increases will be. So this won't stay static. It's not going to be the same thing every day. We will be changing this as the market changes and evolves as well. We now have some smart presets available where you can define what kind of listing you're managing, and also see little tips that we offer and why we're offering that you set certain customizations in this way. We will also give you base and minimum price nudges if we think that you should change any of these. Okay, and then comes the point where you can actually customize your prices. So there's a lot of different things that you can look at. You can define how you price orphan gaps. You can define your minimum and maximum prices. You can define different length of stays. You can do date-specific overrides. You can do overrides on a whole account or group level, set extra person fees, set your pricing offsets, weekend, weekday minimum prices. All of these things you can set on Pricelabs. So it's quite a big list that we can go over one day. And then your stay restrictions are also super important. So we also always say base price, minimum stay restrictions. With our set of minimum stay restrictions and customizations, you can actually make them dynamic. So you can set a default minimum stay. You can set a far out minimum stay where maybe you increase the length of stay for your listings. Last minute, you can set customization rules to decrease it and make it more flexible. And you can also set a rule to open up orphan gaps in different lead times, in different booking windows. So there's a lot that you can do here on the system. Again, very quickly, I'm just wrapping up with the presentation. We did mention hyperlocal pulse. This is our new algorithm. As I mentioned it, I just wanted to explain why are we talking about hyperlocal pulse. It really is a breakthrough in everything that we've sort of done until now. It is our newest release, and what it does is it does capture sort of very distinct trends for the hyperlocal area around you, and it leads to a very accurate price recommendation by looking at the seasonality forecasting, by improving the base price help, demand factor sensitivity, day of week pricing, and custom seasonal profiles. So with that in mind, Phil, I don't know, are we leaving questions till the end? Should I? Yeah, perfect. I'll go over to the Pricelabs system. So maybe some of you have seen this. Maybe you are completely new to Pricelabs. Let me give you a little bit of an overview of what to expect from the platform. So this is my demo account here, but you will see exactly the same thing. When you log on to Pricelabs, you have your pricing dashboard here, and all of your listings will be listed on this page. So you can easily view basic information that's added on, like bedroom count, where is it located, minimum base, maximum prices set, when was my listing last synced, is my listing syncing, and then comes the good part. So here we have a set of different performance metrics that you can add to your view to help you see, first of all, how are you performing, but also maybe help you to make some quick decisions the first moment you sign on to your Pricelabs account. I've set these here just as an example. So what we're looking at, well, I can show you. You would probably have by default 7, 30, and 60-day metrics here on your Pricelabs. This is what we use by default, but what we're looking at is how your listing is occupied. So we can see that my first listing is occupied here at 71% in the next 7 days, but I can see that it's color coded in blue. And what this tells me, you'll get used to it as you look at it. What this tells me is that I'm pacing ahead of the market. Okay, so blue means I'm doing much better than the market. How do I know this? If I hover over 71%, I can see that my listing is occupied at 71, but the market is occupied at 45. Straight away, I know that I'm doing much better than the market based on listings around, okay? Similarly, if you see anything in yellow, it means that you're pacing behind the market. Green, which I actually don't have on my screen, means that I'm slightly ahead, and red means that I am quite behind, right? So I really need to think about what I should do to pick up the pace a little bit. Some things to note when you see these colors, again, as we mentioned, it gives you straight away actionable insights. If I'm always showing red last minute in the next 7 days, clearly I'm not competitive. Probably I'm a little bit overpriced, or maybe I'm a little bit restrictive with my minimum stay settings. So this is something that I would think about. How is my last minute pricing? Am I competitive enough? Am I allowing people to actually book a reasonable length of stay last minute? Similarly, if I'm showing 100%, if I'm showing blue for the next 60 days or 30 days, so far ahead, maybe, obviously that means that I'm pacing ahead of the market. Maybe that means that I can actually increase my far out rates a little bit because I don't want to leave money on the table. So of course, if I'm always outperforming the market far ahead, I might want to consider either increasing my minimum length of stay or increasing my far out prices a little bit. But here, what you can do in the add metrics button is add up to, well, around, not up to, 40 different metrics to your view. So you can add, for some of them, backward-looking data, forward-looking data as well, just to see how you are performing. And what this means is that you'll probably just have to scroll to the right of your screen to view the information. So this is it here on the first page. Really cool to be able to see information and how you're performing. I spoke about base price and minimum price nudges. This is how they will appear. If we think that you should lower or increase your base price or your minimum price, we'll tell you by displaying this recommendation. When you click on it, you can actually understand exactly why we're giving you this recommendation. Okay, so you'll be able to see it here. So you can either accept or ignore it. It's up to you. I'm just going to reject it for now. Okay, cool. So let's go into one of the listings. Now, here very quickly, again, very easy to identify what's going on because we have different color coding on your listing calendar. Any dates in light green are low demand, dark blue, high demand. You can identify bookings because they'll have a black circle in the square, and you can also identify the check-in date because it will have a little key in the black circle. Minimum night settings are displayed again over here. You can see it in the top left corner. And then any unbookable night. So let's say I've not opened up one night gaps. I don't want to open up orphan gaps. It will display with a little red triangle and it will say unbookable. If I go to the bottom of the page, I've got a full year calendar. So I can see very quickly what's happening in the year ahead. Well, it depends how far in advance your calendar is open. But I can easily identify low demand, high demand dates and see how much availability I have for the forward-looking months. I promised to talk about help me choose a base price tool. When we talk about picking my base price, again, think of it as your base nightly rent, not including anything on top. And also it should be your average daily rate for the year. If you're ever uncertain, I do recommend going in to help me choose a base price. And even if you know what your base price is, have a look to see what the market is suggesting. Now, just a quick note, when you first import your listings to Pricelabs, it will give you a imported price. So this is the price that we have imported from wherever your listings are located, whether that be on your OTAs or on your property management systems. Bear in mind, we integrate with over 100 property management systems. So this will be imported, and after 13 days of syncing, we will change it to recommended. So we'll tell you, hey, we think you should increase or decrease your base price. To check what the market is suggesting, you need to click on market based. Now on the left-hand side here, you'll see that I've just narrowed it down, but we have a little map of your neighborhood. And what we'll do is we will look at up to 350 listings. It depends now. If you're in a very densely populated with short-term rentals area, we will expand the radius. I think it's up to a maximum of 15 kilometers. But if you're in London, that's got a lot of these listings around, so the area won't be so big, right? But we're taking up to 350 listings around you. And here comes the little, we ask you sort of a little bit for your input because we need to understand the type of property you have. The first question you'll be asked is, does my listing fall into the economy, mid-scale, or upscale segment? So economy, is it sort of more basic? It doesn't have all the amenities. Maybe it's a new listing. I don't have the reviews yet. Is it mid-scale? Is it upscale? Maybe it's super luxurious, has all the amenities and more. You need to define where your property falls here. Here you also need to define who you want to compare to. My listing is a 2-bedroom, but maybe it's a tiny 2-bedroom. So I might want to compare my 2-bedroom to my 1-bedroom as well. And you'll notice that the market-based price changes as I also change my selection here. It will tell you for mid-scale, normally you're priced in the 50th percentile of the market, which means in the mid to sort of higher priced segment, the sort of mid-priced properties around you. And you can go down and see what your prices on average will look like through the months. Bear in mind here, we take into consideration seasonality. And of course, these are average prices. On some days, they will be much higher. On some days, they will be lower. And of course, you can also put your custom base price and see what segment of the market will you fall in. So if I put 1,000, I'm going to be one of the highest prices properties out there. Cool. I will come out of this very quickly because I want to show you as well our minimum stay settings. So I'm just going to toggle this off for a second. Minimum stay settings with Pricelabs are super cool because you can really make them dynamic and you can pretty much implement, I think, anything you want on here. The good thing is that you can either set them on listing level, but if you have a lot of listings, or if you want to set different seasonal profiles, which will carry different minimum stay restrictions, you might also want to create minimum stay profiles. This means that I can create a minimum stay profile, and then I can just attach it where I need to put it, without worrying that I have to keep entering the same information again and again. Very quickly to show you, once you create a profile, you can just come here, attach it, and it's done. But if you're not sure what your strategy should be, you can use our setting suggestions available. This is very similar to help me choose a base price. It depends. Just first of all, you need to select, do I do short-term rentals? Do I do mid-term rentals? I'm going to click on short-term and press go. And here I'm going to see what the market recommendation is for my listing. Okay, so this is only on listing level, because we look at where your listing is and what the properties around you are doing and the different trends that we're seeing. You can either choose to apply and make it your own, or you can create your own minimum stay if you're not happy with these recommendations. So what we do is we define our default minimum stay. We decide whether we want to open up gaps here. So for me, maybe a gap is a 2-night gap, but I can create up to 5 different layers for all of these additional rules. And I can make them apply only in certain lead times. So maybe I only want to open up 2-night gaps between 0 and 15 days, for example, of today. I can reduce my minimum stay last minute. I can increase my minimum stay for far out bookings to receive nicer chunks of bookings far out. But of course, reduce it last minute to help me get filled out. So really, there's a lot here that you can do to make it dynamic. As I also mentioned, smart presets. Here you have a section where you define what kind of property you're managing. This could be sort of short-term rental, mid-term rental, or multi-unit, which is like a hotel-like setup. You will see different recommendations for your pricing, the tip that we're recommending, and why we're recommending these settings. I'll go into a lot more detail next time as to how all the different customizations, but just one thing to touch on is market-driven last-minute prices and market-driven far-out prices. So as I said, we do use market data to determine every day what your last-minute pricing should be. If you want to, you can absolutely set your own strategy in place. You can either remove it if you don't want to have it. When setting your prices, you can also have a look to see where you fall in the market. Neighborhood data is one of my favorite places to go and look, because I can easily identify. So here you have the different percentiles of the market. So 25th, this is the lowest priced listings around me, mid-range, and then the highest priced. I can see that I am obviously in the lowest priced here. I am quite competitive for my 2-bedroom listing. So if I wanted to play around with my prices, I could change my base price and see where that will take me with my pricing. I can also see here how the market is performing. The red line is the market occupancy for forward-looking dates. If I'm seeing maybe that I'm hitting my minimum price quite a lot and I'm not sure what's going on, can always add last year data and see how the market is pacing. So I can see last year, on the same day last year, how was the market performing? For example, on the 21st of November, 2022, the market was actually performing better. We had 50% occupancy for the 30th November. Now we are almost 16% down for the same day. You also have a competitor map. The greens are the cheapest ones. The reds are the highest priced ones. If you click on any of the properties, it goes over to their Airbnb listing page. But the coolest thing is you can actually pick listings from the drop down. Sorry, just one second. Yep. You can pick listings from the drop down, click on Get Calendar, and actually see your listing, when are you available, what your prices are, and then you can compare it to your competitors around you. Okay, we can see that some of them are not using dynamic pricing, for example. Alongside this, just to wrap up very quickly, you can manage your listings on a listing level one by one. You can set different customizations on account level, which means to all of your listings. You can create groups, manage them sort of in groups of listings. And you can also easily manage them here from the multi-calendar. You'll be able to see all of your listings together and apply different customizations in bulk. So in a nutshell, very, very sort of quickly, I know I've spoken a lot and very quickly as well, but this is a very general overview. Normally I'd spend probably an hour talking about this. So hopefully I've managed to give you a nice overview and introduction to Pricelabs, who we are, how we work, and the different things that you can set on the platform. But I will be more than happy, Phil, to sort of do a little bit of a more advanced session as well.
For more information, follow me on my YouTube channel.